Hello, hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to, there's a few folks online as well, and others I'll welcome too. We're meeting down here intentionally to have a little more flexibility and space, especially depending on the week and what else is going on in the life of the church, and space for kids to run with families and all that stuff up in the hearth room. And feel free, if there's still food around, help yourself to find some more. But grateful tonight for, in part, grateful of course for Sandy presenting this, but more so grateful for the years of work and dedication of Sandy and John and so many others who have provided a beautiful community ministry, and so many folks with Hawthorne Education Center. So thank you for that. I'll turn it over to Sandy. Welcome.
Great. We will light, maybe you could light the chalice. And these are words from the Soul Matter packet for the month of February. The theme is love. Never forget that justice is what love looks like in public. So, good evening and welcome. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. I don't, and that's a good thing. You got it? All right. So I have a few pictures that I put together that mostly get into what's happening now, 2022-23. And this is, of course, is Hawthorne Education Center. It's located at 700 4th Avenue Southeast, and it's home of our UU Social Justice Outreach, Hawthorne Helps. A former elementary school. It was built in 1917, and it reopened for adult learning in 2002. Students come to the school from 40 plus countries, and they speak many languages more than that. Many are immigrants, and most are people of color. All are struggling to make a better life for themselves and their families through education. Dots on the map were placed by the students in September at our Welcome Back event. So you can see that they come from a good spread of the world. We have a logo, Hawthorne Helps, it's on that blue barrel. We have a brochure, and that should be on your table, or John has more if we don't have one. We're in a partnership with Rochester Public Schools, Hawthorne Education Center, with support from local faith communities, service groups, and businesses. Our partners contribute money and items. Our mission statement and service are detailed in the handout, along with a list of the classes that are offered at the school. We distribute items twice monthly. So what does Hawthorne Helps look like on site? So our location in over the years, and here's a quick tour past to present. So in 2015, our first space was in the gym with tables, not much inventory as you can see, and a few open shelves. And then a kind of dead refrigerator just sat there too. I don't know why. And sometimes we put things in the refrigerator and that worked out well. So we weren't in a very prominent spot, but every once in a while, a teacher would bring her entire class down to shop all at once, and they didn't speak any English, and that was very chaotic. As we served more students, the school added one lockable metal cabinet for us. 6 months later, the gym was demolished for adding classrooms, and we moved up to the second floor in a great location outside the student lounge. You can see the student lounge through that window. We added picture cards to explain the items, as the language barriers were sometimes quite hilarious. We are now serving about 200 students in a day, and the school added another metal cabinet for us in the student lounge, and they also gave us most all of the wooden cupboards that were there. We could use those. That was great. We celebrated many Hawthorne Helps birthdays in that location. It's a fun time. And then, you know what happened next. COVID hit, and the school closed multiple times in 2020 and 21. We continued, though, serving the only population that we could possibly reach And that was 22 families representing about 100 children and adults. And these were family literacy students whose children had been on site in the child care center there, which was now closed. But the staff were very dedicated, and during COVID, they packed up learning kits every week for the families, and they went out and dropped them on their doorstep. They didn't have any interaction at all. They just left all that for the families. So what happened, we figured out for 19 weeks, when they were doing this, the staff also dropped off very generous bags of essential items from us that we had packed up. And at that time, we included children's books and other children's items. The families were incredibly grateful. Our next move was to the, let's see. When the school partially reopened on site, we set up inside the closed student lounge, placed the grab and go bags that we were now using instead of the tubs of articles and essentials on a table outside the window and waved to the students when they picked up their bag. It was kind of fun. When COVID levels got really high, we sometimes, let's see, our next move was to the entry floor. So then we went down a floor where masked up UU volunteers continued to do the grab and go bags, but we didn't have the glass barrier anymore. And then when COVID levels were high again, and the school didn't close, we moved outside. And we actually this year were outside in September, October, and into the first week in November. And I was out of town that first week in November, and I got a phone call that said, "Are we supposed to be outside?" And I said, "Well, I guess that's up to you." And after about the first hour and a half outside, they moved in. Our latest model on this first floor in the entry is what I call a hybrid model, because it's kind of a mix. The school purchased us this four shelf rolling cart that they now just leave in the hall for us 24/7, and our banners hanging on the side of that, and we can just come in and do our stuff right there before we had to set up things and move things around. Most weeks now, we offer 3 or 4 items in plastic tubs, and we've got those old picture cards back. And as it turns out, it's kind of nice. The students have some kind of choice again, and they can go through. And some days they don't want 4 items, they don't use this, and so they leave it. And that makes our inventory go farther, in fact. And so in all these different times, through January 2023, we have served almost 35,000 student shoppers and distributed 100,000 items. So that is a lot of money. Through our new partnership with Friends of the Rochester Public Library, and if you know anybody there, thank them. Volunteers generously deliver boxes of preschool and easy reader books to us every time we're there that we put out and share with the students. We don't have any limit on the number they can take, as the goal is to get as many books as possible into homes. Since our start, December 6th of doing this, we've given out 8 cases, and so that's about 450 books. And next time we meet, we're gonna get 3 cases because we got kind of wiped out this last Tuesday. Yesterday, a grandma who's at the school studying came by, and she was walking down the hall, and her little 2.5-year-old granddaughter was looking around, and she saw the book table, and she ran over to it, and her grandma's trying to stop her, saying, no, you can't do that. And she reached up and she grabbed a book, and then she put it behind her back. She was so excited, and I couldn't take a picture of her face or anything like that, but as they were walking away down the hall, I took a picture, and you can see she has that book right in her hand. She's going to keep that. And the great thing was, adults can take books themselves for practicing their developing reading skills, so grandma could have one too. So this is what our delivery model looked like yesterday. We had bags donated by Trader Joe's. And they were filled with toilet paper, dish soap, a towel, and a green cleaning product, because we have a lot of nurse volunteers, and they're very picky. And so the only thing we can give out as a cleaning, no Bon Ami, no Ajax, nothing like that, baking soda. So it has a couple of purposes for people. So that's kind of nice. So last Sunday, those bags were packed by the Faith Development children, and they had a wonderful time doing it. They're incredibly excited when they do it, and it's really fun. So probably 3 times a year going forward, we'll keep that packing model, because it allows us to have more interaction with our own UUs. And so here were some photos from their Sunday packing. And you notice that I said baking soda was in the bag. So the thing is, we just have a lot of inventory and need a place to put it. Of course, the church has some space, but we reach out to UUs, and any of you, if you have space available, we could probably use it. So far this school year, we have used 10 different members' homes or garages. Of course, when the freeze came, we had to move things out of the garage. So this is the big part about the UU thank you to all of you. Recruitment of UU volunteers is a big part of maintaining this program. And we do have community partners, but the UUs are the only ones who do the legwork, all the legwork, and the distribution. So in November, in this space, there was a social justice fair, and we brought in some new help. This is a mock setup of the table that you might have seen that day. This is at my home. And that day, I was going to take a picture, and of course, Andrew wasn't there. I missed it. And so what we should see here is Ann Shea. She's a UU, and she's also a staff member at HEC. And she's a terrific host. And for the last 2 years that we've done this, she's been the host at the table, because she can answer all the questions about the school, what they do, and what happens there. So Hawthorne Help simply could not exist without hands-on UU support. Buying, shopping, storing, some packing, bag decorating, welcome notes, donations, and distribution. I often say one of the best parts of this outreach has been that we can involve UUs of all ages. We had a packing event at the church during COVID, when our numbers were smaller and we could use the commons. And you can see we had a turnout of lots of ages to help with that. Another example of UUs volunteering of various ages is the Chalice Camp. And this is from the summer of 2021, when they were getting all organized in the hearth room with the bag packing that they were going to do. And then, of course, this summer, we have some fun pictures from that. They were busy packing up. That picture, do you know who that little girl is? She was at Chalice Camp. She's darling.
I have a guess.
So cute. And then they decorated the bags too, and that's how they looked when they got on the table at Hawthorne. So we have to give a shout out to Amy Nelson and Chantel Feddersen for their support, because they're always willing to do this.
Say, Andy, I should just say, so when you have bags decorated like that, you'd be surprised how the adults will sit. They'll just look at which one, they don't.
Yeah. They stand around a long time making their choice. That's true. Okay, so in September, we have a welcome back for students that includes purchasing, packing, and distributing school supplies. This year, a UU Chalice group generously packed 200 bags in the chapel and included welcome notes. Karen Terrera. And she's carrying all the bags around. That was great fun. So,
Are you gonna give a shout out to the big bank for all the bags?
yeah, I can do that now.
Fast.
Yeah, so for 3 years, or 4, Alter Credit Union provided bags for us. And then I got tired of asking them. So I went to my bank, and they did 500 the first year that they did it, and then these just arrived, was it this week, Tammy, right? And they sent 1,000 this time, but I think this is what was so cool about it this time. I tried for 4 years to teach the students that we didn't give out plastic bags, we didn't give out paper bags, we gave out a red bag. And the Ultra bags, and if they would come back with their red bags, then they'd get a bonus the next time. And all the volunteers hated it because then you had to track it and all this kind of thing. And so, but the students pretty much loved it. We did have to finally give that up. So now we're just using these bags for school supplies. And that's the next part of the story. So there are all these school supplies and there are boxes of them, and we can say how lovely, because right now they're in Tammy Taganelli's basement. Yep, a very good place for them. They found a home.
Downstairs, upstairs, all over the house.
They're all over the house, yes. So students transition in and out of Hawthorne throughout the school year. So we keep the school supplies coming all year. And that's why we have Tammy, and you can see how she does it at her house when she's packing. That's great. And those little notes that you see there. So Sue Anderson, if you know her, wanted to do something, but right now she's not very mobile. So she said, isn't there anything I could do at home? So she took over writing out these little welcome notes that go in the bags with the students. That was the part about the think bank bags now. All right, and there they are, ready to go. And we have given out 399 so far of the school year. I thought maybe in the whole school year we're going to give out 500, but I think it's going to be more than that, because really the numbers are growing quite a bit, which is a good thing, I think. So this is to her, and his title is Intake and Admissions. And so he sees all the new students and assesses them. He's a Hmong refugee whose wife and children attended Hawthorne. His comments about Hawthorne helps, I think, are worth repeating. One day when we were set up, he had a new student that he brought down to the table, and she had one of these bags, and he said, come here, I want to say something. And so he said, Sandy, you may not realize what the Hawthorne Helps presence really means here at the school. Students face many rejections in our current world. Of course, the students receive a really warm UU welcome and encouragement in every distribution from the UUs who volunteer, though. In late October and early November, a recent addition to our services has included offering winter items, mostly hats and scarves. We definitely reached out to other faith communities, friends, and relatives for help, anybody who needed. So we had 6 faith communities that donated this past fall, and we distributed, I think, about 450 items, which was great. Although Hawthorne is an adult learning center, they're one of 300 in the state, and that's like a mind-boggling thing to me that we have that many. I didn't know that. A perk of our distribution work is that we get to see some beautiful families too on the scarf and hat pickup day. This is very fun. So currently we're looking for knitters. Melissa's gone, too bad. I understand her next craft Saturday, she has a knitter coming in, right, Nina? Yes. There, you can all go to the knitting class and then you can do this kind of thing, I'm sure. This is good. Laurel and Darren are still here, okay. So Hawthorne operates year-round. In the spring, we have been blessed with plants to share. Laurel and Darren have already started the seeds, is that right? Or just about?
Just about.
Soon, it's coming soon. So other gardeners, take note. This is what we expect. You ready? I understood there was going to be tomato plants again and sunflowers, right?
They were Cynthia Delby's Ukrainian sunflowers. That we started for them last year.
Nice, Cindy.
Yeah.
That is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that happens is that Well, the students, sometimes in the summer when we have produce donated, it's out there, but the most popular things are the herbs. And especially the herbs that they are familiar with from their countries. And Kay Everman every year donates a lot of mint, pots it up, and Lynn Smith has done this too. And the Somali families are just fighting over those pots of mints, so that's fun. So where does all the money come from? First semester this year, we spent about $4,200, and Share the Plate is a significant source of income, and we have to thank Connie for managing our funds. You wouldn't want me to be doing it, I can assure you. So that's what it looked like on Sunday on the screen, and for the rest of the month too. So anybody know this woman? No, the minister, of course. Oh, raise your hand, Luke. Who is that?
Is that Clara?
That's Clara Barton. So our UU Clara Barton Guild, and I'm not sure everybody knows about that, but some, contributes generously each year to Hawthorne Helps. So now I have to stop because I'm going to do a brief advertisement for the Clara Barton Guild. Back from the depths of COVID, the rummage sale returns. A kids sale, only a kids sale, focused on infants and children's gently used items is happening on Earth Day, April 22nd. Help us recycle. What a fun way to support UU scholarships, special church projects, Hawthorne Helps, along with a number of other women and youth-focused nonprofits that they've supported for how many years have they been around?
A long time.
100? I mean,
Yeah.
a long time.
Yep, decades.
Yeah, so if you don't personally know any children that fit in the category of infant through size 12, just go out and meet some. How they can bring their things here, their toys, whatever. We don't have any young families with us tonight, unfortunately, but we're gonna get to them. Since 2017, we've had one annual fundraiser, a booth at the UU Handcrafted Bazaar. And this year, let's have set that date for Saturday, September 30th. UU volunteers donate handmade items. Our goal is to raise $1,000. Ramona Barr and Laura Lukes recently added the 125 live December craft sale, and expanded the sales so we could meet that goal. They had an incredible amount of stuff there and did very well. They beat out the money raised here, so that was very good. And I'm sure you've all seen this in December. The Giving Peace Mitten Tree provides another opportunity for UUs to shop for local nonprofits. Julie Gilkinson and Ramona are responsible for this giving. Hawthorne Helps benefits greatly. Donations of brand new essential items play a big part in offsetting our costs. We did well. We had $195 in gift cards from Dollar Tree, and then we had another like 60 items that came in through that this year. That was wonderful. Our UU barrel that sits in the coat room started out as a throwaway from Channel 1. It didn't look too good. It got a fresh coat of paint and a homemade sign, and now has transitioned even a bit more. Isn't it lovely? And so monthly, January to November, we attach an ever-changing list of essential items to donate. This month of love, we're collecting tissue boxes, pocket tissues, and toothpaste, especially toothpaste. We collected on average about 100 items monthly, which equates to more than $1,000 annually. As the cap of our purchased items, we never spend more than $1.25. We used to say it was $1, but then Dollar Tree increased their prices to $1.25. So now that's how much it is. In December, when the mitten tree is up, we don't do a collection in the barrel, but this year we decided to collect 2023 calendars. Did anybody bring one? That was wonderful. It was really a great success because, you know, at our house, we get a flood of calendars, and mostly we would have thrown them in recycle. But this way they got recycled with students, and over 100 students benefited, and they love the calendars. And just like John said, when they're looking at the designs on the bags, so they're all lined up at the table and they're looking at all the pictures on the calendars, and that was really fun. I think the greatest joy of the barrel to me has been the involvement of children and youth in dumping, sorting, and tallying the barrel contents. This was done this summer one time. More than 100 plus children have helped over the years, and some of them are in college now. So, it's been a while. Because of school closings and virtual classes, Hawthorne Helps ended up with extra money in 2021. So we looked for a local nonprofit serving a similar population that we could help. And it turned out to be Community Health Services at the Hines Center. And you can see that in the beginning, in '73, when it was established, the purpose was to serve the needs of migrant and seasonal farm workers and their families. Now they've expanded a broader base where they'll serve any low-income family in our area, but that was how I became involved in it at that time. It really is a wonderful, wonderful clinic to have. And in just 2 years, we have provided about 1,200 grab-and-go bags to patients and their families. The clinic sees an uptick in migrant workers in the spring. They leave the Tex-Mex border bound north with whatever fits into their vehicles. Money allowing, we hope to resume this partnership this year, April to August. It is great to know that even though, I talked and I didn't go. So there's the clinic in the snow. There it is inside. There's Joe delivering our first offering to the clinic. And we don't staff that. The people that come in as patients just help themselves to a bag. And in the beginning, when we were doing it, was during COVID, so they only got a bag if they got their shot, or they only got a bag if they came back on time for their diabetes recheck. So there was some, that was the staff doing that. We were part of that, but apparently they liked that. And the one fun thing that even though we're not active there now, we had set up a partnership for the clinic with Friends of the Library, and they continue. We don't have our bags there now, but I just went out to check, and they still have the books, and they still go through books, and I don't think it's showing in the sign, but they made a sign about how important it is in English and Spanish and whatever other languages that parents take the time to have books in their home and read to their children. So I feel like that is worth it in itself. Took a lot of volunteers to fit that new project in. Shoppers, storage, always we need storage. Packing, this is Jody and Dave's Edmondson's darling granddaughter, who they pack at their home, and she loves to help in the summer. And so of course you stepped up to fill that need. And you'll see, this is the Wheeler's porch. And it's best to use the Wheeler's porch for storage in the good weather season. And you can see that we have men who help too, loading up the cars to go. There's Kirk Payne to go drop off the bags at the clinic. Our newest partnership is kind of exciting, and it just happened. And that is a partnership with Channel 1 and Hawthorne Education Center. In November, Channel 1 began a mobile food unit delivery to students. Since the early 2000s, if you know Julie Larson-Keller, who worked at Hawthorne, she had tried year after year. She brought it up at the staff meetings that we should have a food shelf on site. We really need a food shelf on site. And always she was turned down. Then she retired. She's been retired for a little while now. But lo and behold, 2022, it finally happened. Yesterday, UU volunteers helped staff the student check-in. There's Nadine is in the picture, whole house, and she's the administrator at the school, but she was training in and helping UUs learn the system so that they could do that, so staff didn't have to sit there. So here's what it looks like. I don't know if any of you've ever seen it. I was so incredibly impressed. They come with a semi early in the morning and they unload these bins, roll them in. Everything that's in that room is taken out, and they put 3 rolling carts in there like this, and one of them is filled with produce, and the other 2 are filled with canned foods, shelf-stable things, shelf-stable foods and bread products. And there's no, from the days when I used to drag clients to Channel 1 and you had a system where you had a card and you could take 2 points for this item and 3 points for that item, and you didn't have very much flexibility and you couldn't take very many items. It's just amazing to me how much food they're able to give away now. They also have a little cold unit that they always have milk in, and then they have a rotating protein. Some weeks they'll have cheese or chicken or beef or fish, and that goes. And the students come down, and the Hawthorne sets it up so it's kind of a fair rotation. So first they'll say, anybody on the 3rd floor who wants to shop at Channel 1, come on down now. And they let them leave their classes and they can come down and shop. And then they go through the 2nd floor, and then they go through the entry in the basement, and then the next week they change it up and make sure that that they start in a different place. But I can't believe how much food people can carry away, and what a blessing that must be to their families. And I, as I said, we have a lot of nurses who volunteer. So yesterday somebody said, what do you think about this? No, they picked up their food at 9:30 in the morning, and where is it going to be now for the next 4 or 5 hours of the day? Well, it's okay right now if it's not 25 below or whatever, they can take it out to their car, and if they have cars, but probably only a quarter of the whole population has a car, and then otherwise they're sitting in the classroom under their desk. That's probably not the best, but it's not going to be any better in the summer either. So, hopefully it's going to be safe enough. So you see those little hands? Those are from 2-year-olds. And they made this sweet thank you card for you all. And it says, thank you for helping our families out with the items they need for their homes. Love the 2-year-olds of Hawthorne. And there was Amin and Charbel and Sarah. Oh, I can't see all the names, but you can bet they came from many different countries and many different cultures. It's really fine. Next Sunday, Ronice Donovan will set up at that table right there and in the Commons, and she is going to invite you to create a welcoming message to students at Hawthorne. We did this in 2017, and just think, that's quite a while ago, and right now, that's how many hearts are left on the walls in the student lounge, just those 3. But at the time we did them in 2017, we received so much appreciation from students and staff for just this simple gesture. How much does it cost? Practically 0. And you can write in other languages or use your Google Translate and put in some other messages from different countries. That would be a great thing to do. So I would say, my personal thanks tonight goes out to my mother, Mary Tretnero Orso. She was the daughter of Italian immigrants who was forced to leave school at age 14 and support herself. We never know the stories of those we meet at Hawthorne. We just can't know where they've walked, where they've been. My mom earned her GED at age 45 because places like Hawthorne exist. And I have to say, this is so funny, Erica, because you put John's name on this program. I haven't heard him say one thing except to interrupt. So now this is his moment. Yeah, this is his moment.
Yes.
So I have to thank my husband too. He's a true helpmate. He could best describe his many, many duties, and sometimes behind that smile that you always see on him out in public, I have to tell you, believe it or not, there's a bit of grumpiness.
No, thank you.
So thank you.
I call myself the mule. I've gotten a lot less, as we used to do all the shopping. And we had Menards, and I take it home in our place, which is 1,000 square feet. Or we have a locker up on the 6th floor, store it there a while, and then take it out, take it to Hawthorne. So I like that title, I'm mule.
So thank you.